So it's a Dice Divination reading with Gunnar, Sollys, Friestad, and Girouard. Welcome, guys. It's nice to have you on the show.
Oh, greetings from the United States.
Greetings from Norway.
Excellent. So let's get started.
Yeah. Jim, would you like to explain the process, or?
Yeah, I invented this method 7 years ago, and I got the idea from the Bible code. And the way it works in the Bible code is you have thousands of letters, and they use a computer program, and they ask a question, and they scan the letters, and they get their answers. So my idea was to get the letters myself. So I started off with regular dice, and that was real time consuming. So I found boggle dice, which had the letters on them. And I did a reading every single day for 3 years in a row until I perfected it. And then in 2012, I went to Sedona and gave a lecture, and 25 people showed up. And it's quite successful, actually. And when I came back, I wrote 3 books and got them published. And Ileana here interviewed me, and that's how Gunnar found out about me. And one thing just happened after.
Yeah. So we're gonna try a group reading today.
Okay, good. So your volume was a little low, but it's perfect now.
Yeah. I had to turn my speaker on.
So I'll just quickly reiterate what we were talking about. So we're doing a group dice reading today with Gunnar, Sollys, Friestad, and Girouard, who invented the Dice Divination Reading. Sorry, our volumes were a little low before, and we're on the Awakening Cosmic Reality show. So it's a group reading that Gunnar is hosting. And thank you both for being here, and thank you for the group.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for filming.
Yep.
So
Excellent.
Okay, so you know the drill as far as like throwing the dice and how many letters and how many dice and how to write it down and all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the main idea is you want to get some answers to your question. So you can ask a question if you like. It doesn't matter what the question is. And another way you can do it is just have a blank mind and not ask any question at all. It works both ways.
Yeah. So should we just get started on, or?
So how many dice are you guys rolling?
We're rolling 26 dice.
And how many times?
5 throws.
Okay, and then you're writing down the letters like of each throw, right?
Yeah, 1 line for each throw.
Okay, perfect. So that's how it starts per person with the dice reading.
Can you introduce me to your friends?
Yeah, sure. Here we have Ileana. Tony and Thomas. Put your head out so they can see you. Thomas here.
Howdy, folks.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, okay, so everyone just get started.
So they're writing a question right now, what they have to ask for the dice reading, and their questions will be answered.
Yeah, they're gonna write down the answers they get, and then after Jim's gonna decode them. So it should be interesting.
And the questions have to be related to the person and what's in their soul spark and their universal soul reading, basically. That's related.
Yeah, basically, you can basically ask whatever you want, but yeah, you need to think about how to formulate your question to get the bigger picture of things. Jim might have some input on this.
Well, that's the part that took me 3 years to figure out. I asked every stupid question you can imagine.
Yeah, and what I've done is I've asked questions that, like, I have a strong feeling I was in the secret space program, and I also got some information from a alien contact intelligence organization group. Like, I had an agent who did a briefing, 3-hour briefing with me, and then I asked a question, just as an example of the dice. What type of secret space program was I in? And I got quite a bit of information. I know it relates to a separate time in my life, but it still relates to me. It's a little bit outside the box, but I asked the question and I got an interesting answer.
Yeah, well,
I ended up, it said that I was a spy in the sky office, and I did work in the mountain ranges, and that I was a nurse type of technician who checked dead bodies and bones to see what the quality of the bodies was.
and you
That's actually quite accurate, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and it said that I had been on Mars in the virtual reality as well as in the physical range of reality. That I had been on the planet, and that I also had heard sounds on the moon when I was at a young age. So those were the answers to my questions.
And this was one of your first times, or?
It happened in a parallel lifetime in an alternate reality, but it was connected to my concurrent lifetime of this reality. Like, it was a 60 years in the quantum leap space program, basically, that I had done. And I couldn't figure out how the 60 years could be because I'm only 31. So here in the current reality, it happened in the span of 11 years. And in the alternate reality, it was 60 years. And I could come back between both realities, back and forth through time slipstream travel, basically, technology.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that was my recent reading that I had done. Just an as example.
Yeah.
And you can have like complex readings or more simplified readings. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I've noticed that your thoughts makes or breaks the question.
Yes, the more specific you are and what you're trying to figure out, the better. At least for me, because I exist on multiple realities and I time travel, so I need to be very concise in what I ask the universe. And I try to keep my ego out of it.
Yeah, I made a couple of beginner's mistakes, asking about simple materialistic things, and couldn't get any straight answers because I didn't have any good questions, so to speak.
Well, the thing about the subconscious is that the subconscious doesn't understand the word get. It doesn't understand the word money. You know, there's words that we use in the English language that's just not understood by the subconscious. And you're addressing the subconscious and your higher self at the same time.
Yeah. And sometimes...
So if you ask a question like, am I going to get the money? The reading is going to say, he wants to know if he's going to get the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I've noticed is sometimes it's not your subconscious that gives you the answer, but the universal thought and mind that will give you the answer. Like the whole universe will answer you, not just yourself. So that's interesting. Sometimes that comes through in the dice reading.
I suppose if you did ask a question, if it's your first dice reading, it would probably be the most important question you had at that time.
Yeah, and it's and Jim, like I had modified your dice reading a little bit with your permission because I had sent you the document, in that I was writing down all the words as well. Like, and you know how you write down the throw of the 5 lines with the 26 letters of the dice, but I was
Yeah.
also writing down 5 lines of words from each of the throws of the 5 throws, and then writing out sentences because I found that easier to understand.
What Red Bull? Kind of cool. Yeah, me too. Sometimes if I do a call and there's something that really stands out, I make a note of it before I proceed further.
Yeah, I always write down the words, and now the more that I do the dice readings, like the sentence spells itself out so quickly in each dice throw. Like I could see a literal sentence already in the letters. It's amazing. It's like my thought is manifesting this answer so quickly.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, how does that work when you get like sentences in the throw itself of the 26 dice?
Well, I think your approach, the results that you're getting is totally unique, and I've never seen it happen with anyone ever before. I mean, your readings are crystal clear according to your thoughts.
Yeah, I get interesting readings and results. It's always mind-boggling to me. It's boggle. The words just make themselves into sentences, and I don't have to write it down so much anymore. It's just like you said, Jim, crystal clear. The more you do this, the easier it gets for you to decipher the words and the letters to make your sentences.
Yeah, if you really want to learn this method, and if you want to get the dice and do a reading once a day or once a week or however many times you'd like to do it, um, that would be the way to do it. As long as you are consistent in doing dice readings, you can send me the letters, and I'll decode them, and you can do as many readings as you like. But the thing is as you're doing these readings, it's kind of like the idea of observing and studying your thoughts and your emotions, and then you're seeing a write-out of your thoughts and emotions in the reading. So you're getting like a feedback.
Exactly. And it's amazing. It's like for me, it's so much better than tarot. It's a lot better than tarot readings with cards.
Yeah, I agree. Tarot is it's kind of like what should I say? All over the place. It's not specific in any way.
Yeah, tarot is very vague.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
it's
vague, very generalized.
Well,
yeah,
sometimes the image is crystal clear in the tarot, like in the card that you pull, and you're like, oh, yeah, I know what that relates to right away. But sometimes it can be vague in terms of like, you really have to think about it and spend like 10, 15 minutes meditating on one card, and you're still not getting crystal clear message. Then you go to the book for the meaning of the card, and you're like, oh, okay. As opposed to with the dice, it's like you get words, you really get clear words, and you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, I feel the pain body, and the dice just says pain body, help yourself. That's another reading that I did. Help yourself with the pain body in your workplace. That's what the words spelled out.
Yeah.
And like, what if somebody asks who's going to be the next president of the 2000 election? Who will win? Like, people have, done that with the dice readings, Jim. Is that a good idea to ask those types of questions?
It is, but you got to understand that the timelines are constantly changing. So it actually worked for me. I got a reading on Mitt Romney, and it said that he was going to lose the election. And the way that it described it, it said, he is a dead moth.
Yeah, he's a dead moth. Yeah.
So in other words, when the candle is lit, the moth flies into the candle and gets burned to death.
So what about Clinton and Trump? Have any of you done a reading on those two?
I got some readings that said that Trump would win, but like I said, it's a timeline that there's also a possibility that the elections might be canceled.
So you were saying that the timeline might change and he might not win?
Right.
Okay, yeah, that was
It's not written in stone, really.
okay, yeah. Well, it's interesting, like timelines do change. And like if you ask the same question again in another reading, you might get a different answer.
Yeah, the thing about the elections is that it's completely external to you. And you have no control. It has nothing to do with you personally, really, except for the fact that you might vote. But you have no control, really, over the election, so it's not really coming from your subconscious directly.
Yeah, so if you ask the same question again, like you might get a different answer this time because the
Yeah,
timeline has changed.
I think my question would be, should I bother voting?
I haven't voted in 15 years and I don't plan to because I think it's all rigged and, bad
Yeah,
apples in government.
it's all corrupt.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
Yeah,
vote. You shouldn't vote on a bad person only because he's one of two bad persons. Or yeah, if you don't have a good choice, then don't choose.
yeah,
Exactly.
they both want to frack the environment, which is very bad. So I don't think either one of them was any good.
And the thing is, there's a difference between the Canadian elections and the American ones. Here in Canada, we still use paper ballots where we put our check marks, right? And in the States, it's all computer ballotized. It's all on the
Yeah,
computer. So,
the digital can be changed in a flick of a switch.
yeah. I mean, the paper ballots can be lost as well, for sure. But, it's a little harder on paper to falsify something or change it too much.
Yeah. Uh, I actually it has nothing to do with the dice, but I had a premonition about the election, um, and I believe that Trump will win, but he will be removed from power, and Bernie Sanders will be given the opportunity.
Actually, there was, there was a guy named Hogue, who's an expert in Nostradamus predictions, and he did an astrological reading on Trump's presidency, and he said exactly what you just said, that he would be impeached.
Yeah, yeah, I'm quite sure about that, but we'll see.
Yeah,
But
well,
that's
you
really
know,
cool. He said the same thing.
the guy's a hothead.
Well, and
Yeah,
Hillary Clinton could be impeached too for all her scandals and stuff. You never know. It's 50-50 for both of them. So many things on both sides for both of these individuals. I don't personally have an opinion on them. They're people too, and you know, people try to find so much dirt on these candidates. It's everything is being leaked out through WikiLeaks and other, anonymous and other sources to just You know, and how do you know what's true and not true about these people? They've both been slammed with a lot of dirt, so how do you know what's true anymore about them or not? You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is, the people, they want the president to live up to a standard that they don't live by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to decide what's really going to happen in this election. We might not even get an election.
Might be canceled.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, how's the questions coming?
Yeah, I think we're nearing ready now. Would you like us to send this on email later, or would you like to see them now?
Now, please.
It's up to you. Yeah, it's up to you.
But should we just I don't know, take a picture and send it on Messenger, or should I just hold it up to the screen, or?
Oh, you can read it, yes?
Yes, please read it.
Yeah, but I mean, I know the results from the dice draw. The letter, should I just hold it up to the screen, or should I send it? And
If you hold it up to the screen, I might not be able to read it.
yeah. So should I take a picture and send it?
You can do it either way. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And usually it's good to save these dice reading reports for yourself so you can have a copy of it later to refer to read about it.
Yeah, I have several dozen saved in my file. So.
Yeah, it's like keeping a diary almost.
Yeah, and you can save it in a Word document, or you could just keep it on paper somewhere in a diary log of some sort. And it's good to date it when you did these readings so you could actually look back to see, oh, okay, I did this last year on this date, and what significance did this date have for me, and what happened to compare.
Yeah, I have a stack of several thousand readings.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm saving every reading I do.
And sometimes when you start to do a reading, it might, like, there's some blockage there, so you stop doing it because it's not going the way you want it or the way the energy should, and that's okay too. Sometimes you've just rolled the 26 dice and you've had a few letters come out, but the energy's like just blocking you from rolling the other 4 times. So I've stopped sometimes because the energy wasn't going properly.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. That happens sometimes. And you can rephrase the question another way or do it another day to get more clarity.
Yeah, that brings up another point too about the roadblocks, is that your mind is actually creating the roadblocks that's stopping the things that you want to happen in your life.
Yeah, that's what happened with me when I was asking a question. And I had to stop and I actually had to search for the answer on my own without the dice reading, and the answer came on its own. It was quite clear. I wasn't meant to find it fully through the dice. And that's fine because it made me work harder to figure out what was going on in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any questions about the readings?
Yeah, guys, any questions? No, not so far. But Jim, I'm gonna send these to you right now.
Okay. So those are coming on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you this on Messenger. We took pictures of all the readings, and I'm gonna send it to you now.
Did you already do the dice throws?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, while we were talking.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, so as long as I have everybody's first and last name and their email address, I'd be glad to decode the letters and send them the reading.
Yeah.
Not only that, but with the questions written down, we can compare the reading to what they wrote.
Yeah, everybody's got that question written down on top.
Are we going to do this now, or is this personal and we're not taping that?
I'm guessing it's okay.
All right.
Yeah. So let me just send this over and.
Awesome. And then Jim can decode it
Yeah.
and let us know the answers, right? And the questions.
Yeah, it's gonna take a day or so.
A day or so?
Yeah, it takes me half hour to do each one.
Okay, can you do at least one for us so we understand how it works? Like one question, one answer from somebody?
It would take a half hour.
Okay, we have time. Like we could, stay on just so people understand what's going on, how this works.
Okay, how are you sending them?
I'm gonna send them on Messenger on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I can. Yeah. Yeah, I can. Jim, my friend has a question. Jim,
Okay.
I am between two star signs. I am between Taurus and Gemini.
Okay.
What does that mean, though?
Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Well, what it means is that you have influences of both planets, and you have the traits of both signs. Taurus is very stubborn. Cancer is very emotional. Cancers tend to be very irritating towards people sometimes, but they're also very protective. And
Gotcha. Gemini.
Gemini.
Oh, Gemini. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Gemini is a very quick thinker. They tend to be hot-tempered, but they're also very warm, and they're quick thinkers. And Taurus is very vocal. So a Taurus Gemini cusp would be someone that's very outspoken, very stubborn, very expressive, and it's kind of a nice thing actually to have the traits of both signs.
Now, do you have a Cancer as a friend or a life partner by any chance? Somebody who's a Cancer in the Cancer sign?
Cancer is not like Scorpius. No. Probably, but I don't know. That's right. Probably.
Well, Scorpios are very active. They're very hot-tempered as well. So their fuses are very easily lit, and they like to argue with people for Scorpio. And they're very determined and very aggressive in achieving things and goals. So if you do have somebody who's close to you who's a Scorpio, just try to ground their energies a little so it's not active, like, not like a blowing volcano.
Uh,
Okay, did you send the letters?
I'm sending them now.
Okay.
So, Jim, how long does it usually, like you were saying, how long does it take to decode one reading per person?
I can do it in 20 minutes, usually a half hour. Sometimes I might get some word combinations the next day if I go over it again.
Okay.
Ronny, du sendte meg mitt bilde 2 ganger og gjerne sitter ikke. Please, guys, ask some questions if you're interested. I'm a Capricorn.
I can answer that one for you.
Yeah, born on the 16th, so I'm the beginning of a Capricorn. Yeah. Could you answer something about that?
Yes, I can. I'm a Capricorn myself. So, Capricorns are very determined, hardworking people. They can be stubborn as well. They love to travel and go on adventures.
Yeah.
So, there might be this sense of I need to go somewhere and discover something and accomplish something. They're very goal oriented and driven to in business to make money and to accomplish all of their life goals, to, check off everything on your important to-do list. So, have you had any of that, like something, a goal that you feel you need to accomplish and soon?
No, but I need to travel. I feel if I'm in one place, I feel stuck.
Yeah,
So when I travel, I feel more like myself. I feel it's in my nature to travel.
because it is. Capricorn is a goat. So it wants to climb and wants to jump over mountains and, go to many places and be out in nature, to feel at peace and grounded. Capricorns can get anxiety and nervousness a lot if they don't express themselves. So express yourself in your dreams and your goals. Try to, achieve what you want in life and to be creative. Capricorns are very creative. So if you want to try something, you should.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But when I travel, I become more free. Like when I travel to that country, I assume the personality of that country. Like
Yes.
traveling in Asia, people that live in Asia say to me that they feel that the way I act and everything that I'm not a tourist in their country. I'm more like them.
That's perfect traits of a Capricorn. You feel free when you travel, and you really explore the culture of the country that you're in. You're like Capricorns like to meet people, talk to people, to express themselves freely. That's a huge trait of a Capricorn, so that really does match up with your personality.
Yeah, that sounds right on. It sounds like me.
That sounds like you, Gunnar.
What? Sorry.
Somebody said that sounds like me.
Yeah, Steve, who has Thomas, who asked a question. I said you answered perfectly. It's the way I am.
Okay, excellent. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, my friend Janne.
Hi, Yelna.
Okay, I'm a Scorpio, and my birthday is in August, and my grandmother is also. Uh, and uh, I'm thinking about the element. I'm the water, but I'm thinking to always end up with fire, always. And I'm thinking that's not good.
So you seem to end up with a fire sign always?
Yeah, it's always fire around me.
Ah, well, Scorpios are very passionate people. They're literally like electrified. Their energies are electrified, and they're fast. They're on the go always. They're very goal driven. So, and Scorpios can really accomplish a lot in life. Um, are you very like? Do you have some aggression, or are you a calm person?
So,
Both? Okay, so you have a grounding aspect to you. Like female Scorpios tend to be calmer than male Scorpios, so the energy is more balanced in the female Scorpio energy. The fire aspect is about exploring who you are, and there's also somebody always attracted to you, entities. Are there entities around you always when there's a fire?
Best now.
yeah, that's a nice application. I can see them, but I feel them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the golden fire energy around you. The entities are attracted to that energy. And your grandmother might have had the sight. I think your grandmother might have had the sight, and she saw entities as well, and it got passed on to you in your family heritage lineage.
Elena, I wanted to ask you while we're talking, if you've had any contact with the fairies and goblins and these sorts of creatures.
Well, fairies, yeah, I had a contact with the fairy one time, messenger of the king, messenger of Oberon. And
Well,
she told me it was a messenger fairy. She told me that I would discover the answers in the sky to many of my life questions and to look to the sky for my answers. And then a year and a half later I started talking to extraterrestrials and other dimensional beings. So that message from the fairy was quite profound. And she would like buzz and buzz until I answered her. So it's always important when a fairy comes to visit you to answer the fairy. Because if you don't answer a fairy, they'll keep on coming back to you over and over again until they deliver their message. If it's a messenger fairy, there's all kinds of fairies, all kinds. There's different types of fairies. Um, what was the other question?
no, just about the fairies and if you met the goblin.
Goblin? No, I've never met the goblins.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because me and my friend here is very much in contact with them these days.
Okay. Well, fairies can help you with achieving life goals. The fairies are also they're they're kind of like watchers. They watch over you and help you with things. If you're nice and kind to them, they'll be kind to you. Don't ever be mean to a fairy because they could be mischievous and kind of like resent you for it. So don't be mean to fairies. Always be nice to them.
Yeah, believe me, I go. They've caused quite a ruckus with my dogs, letting them loose and yeah.
Yeah, be nice to those fairies because fairies give you luck. If you're good to them, they'll be good to you as well, and they'll give you luck.
Yeah.
So, but they can be mischievous too, so It depends on the fairy you get as well.
Yeah, I see.
Mm-hmm. And fairies are very connected to animals. Always. To the animal kingdom, to the plant kingdom, to the planet itself. Because they have
Yeah,
that
I've seen them.
elemental connection.
Yeah, I've seen them come out from trees and roots, and yeah,
Exactly, yeah. That's where the portals are to the fairy kingdom. There's fairy gardens all over the
yeah,
planet where it's clean air, it's not polluted. That's where the fairy entrances are to the fairy kingdom. From the fairy kingdom to the earth and then the fairy gardens. Some fairies actually live in gardens on earth where it's clean,
yeah.
like
Okay, I
the
got a question.
sprites.
Um, I'm decoding the one that has a question about the energy of the reading
Yeah,
sessions. So I want to know who asked that question.
that was me.
Oh, okay.
So what was your question, Gunnar?
It was. I asked how are the energies around this session.
How well are the energies around the session? Okay, that's an interesting question.
So, Ileana, how long have you been using the dice?
I'd say 4 months.
Yeah,
Yes, but I'm psychically very attuned and I'm a seer, so for me it was like the first time I ever rolled the dice, it took me 4 hours to decode the question and the answer. Then it was 2 hours for another question, and then it got easier and easier. Now it comes down to 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30, depending on the question and the answer. How, if it's an easy question, it's like sometimes 5 minutes. If it's a hard question, 20, 30 to an hour.
yeah,
It's pretty easy for me because my mind ultimately makes connections between sentences and words very fast now. Like, I have to be honest, I couldn't use the original method. I had to write down the letters in the rows as well to the throws. So it was just easier to do the modified method for me. And for each person it could be different. Like, I mean, they can use the original method, they might modify it for their own purpose to understand how the method works. So it could be a little different for everyone.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
I was really amazed by my first roll. I got a very precise answer my first time, so that's what yeah ignited the interest with me.
Yeah, for me too. And like, I just, I got a big boggle set, big letters, very chunky, not the small ones, the big letters. And it's just like holding the dice in my hand. And it's kind of cubed. It's not square dice, it's cubed. So I like the feel of
I
those
think
dice. Do you have the Campbell set or do you have the boggle?
I have the Boggle set.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, okay. Is it the small one or the big boggle?
It's the small one. So I throw the dice 9 times to get the correct number of letters.
Okay. Um, have you ever had to paint the letters?
How do you mean?
Well, repaint the letters because Jim mentioned that sometimes the letters get worn off, like the paint from the letters, and you have to repaint them.
No, I haven't had the need to. No.
Then you must have a good boggle set. How long have you had the boggle set for?
Um, That's a good question. Maybe 6 months.
Okay, well, I mean, what Jim was explaining to me once, the more times you roll them, eventually the paint wears off the dice of the letters, so you have to repaint it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a technique of that he's created, his own painting technique for redoing the letters on the dice that he can maybe explain sometime to us. Really is interesting. He uses a paper clip to, dip into the paint and kind of redo the letters.
Yeah.
Metal part of the paper clip. If it's a metal paper clip, it's easy to dip it into the paint and rework the letter, but it takes time to do it. It's a very precise way.
Yeah.
So you've been doing readings for 6 months, Gunnar?
Yeah. Yeah. About that. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. It's really good. And you have success with them?
Yeah. Very much. I still. I still haven't come to the point where I can't get a straight answer, or yeah, it works every time.
Okay.
From my first throw to the last, it has worked every time.
And you get a straight answer, or are you still working on getting a straight answer?
Sometimes I get a really straightforward answer. Sometimes more cryptical, but it's always it always relates to my question, and yeah, I get some sort of answer to what I'm asking. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. The dice connect to the universal mind, to your own mind as well, to your higher self. So you're always getting something that you need from the dice.
Yeah.
And I heard you told me, like, when we were chatting on Facebook, you told me that you're a shaman. How did that happen?
Actually, it just happened. It's something I've had in me since I was a child, actually, and I never had a master or a mentor or anything, but yeah, it just developed by itself, and I've been given visions of previous lives as a shaman as well, so it makes a lot of sense
Okay.
that I haven't been taught by anyone, but I just know certain things and how to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, many people are having this ability because it's just you're very in tune with yourself and who you are, so it's easy to understand the energy and what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's very good.
So yeah, it just naturally evolved, you could say.
It's a very deep connection to the earth.
Yeah, I've always been running around in the woods by myself since I was a child, and yeah, felt I
And
belonged.
and how is it like living in Norway? Is it very spiritual there? The energies, how are the energies in Norway?
I would say that the energies in the Norwegian nature and forest are very, very strong. But regarding the people, I couldn't say the same.
So the people are very different, right?
Yeah.
And their belief systems and how they live.
Um, yeah, they're very different, but uh, there's not so many that you would call what they call awake. Um, it's yeah, it's starting to turn, but it's going slowly.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, as long as it's turning. So
But you guys, Norway has a lot of history, like historical history and magic energy, right?
yeah, I know, and it's still very very strong present in in nature in Norway.
That's good.
So I like to take friends and people out to some of these special places and try and show them what's actually residing in nature and types of beings and
Have you had any experiences of your own that you want to share with us in nature, like entities you've met or beings?
I've had plenty. I don't know if you saw Jim posted some videos on YouTube recently.
No, I don't think I did. What was it?
Where we discussed these things and lots of meetings I've had and yeah.
Well, who have you met?
I have met quite a lot of things actually. I met the goblins, both small and large. The fairies, both small and large, and some. I'm not actually sure what to call everyone, but I've met some light beings as well out in the woods. Um, it's a bit strange. It's these light beings. There's when I'm in contact with the fairies and goblins and these sorts of things. Very often I have this large tall light being in the background, just watching the whole thing, watching my actions, and it's always accompanied by two smaller dark ones.
Hmm.
Do you know anything about this?
So light beings and thought forms? Did I understand correctly?
No. When I meet this light being, it's always accompanied by two smaller dark beings,
Okay, okay.
one on each side.
Wow, that you must be raising a lot of energy because these beings are attracted to energy, and the light being might show up, and the dark ones might show up too to just watch you to see what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening too. I've never been able to interact with them. They just stand there and watching me interact with the other beings.
Yeah, they could be watchers, curious watchers that are just measuring the energy, seeing how humans interact with higher dimensional beings. And they're
Yeah,
quite interested in just being there and observing you, watching you to see what you're doing and how you're doing it and measuring your life force energies.
yeah,
And in turn they're learning about humans, how we're evolving as
yeah,
humans, especially when
and,
out in nature.
yeah.
It's, it's normal. It's normal.
And my friend here, Thomas, would you tell him? Would you like to tell her about the bear and the goblins at your house? And, yeah, when I left Gunnar's house for some while ago, when I went to my car, I talked to them. I said something like, "Enjoy yourself" or "Have a good time." Went into my car, drove home. It's a 40 minute drive. And that night, I saw somebody. I have in the door downstairs. I have what's it called, a cat door, so the cat can come in and out. So I was sitting in the living room, and then I saw uh, a small being running from the stairs going down over the living room door behind my couch, and I felt present as well. And I have 3 cats and 2 dogs. They were sniffing and reacting to it as well. And I was putting out. One time I was sitting downstairs in my. I have another living room downstairs, my cinema, and the door is hard to close, but you have to use some force to get it open. And it opened by itself. And I noticed the same feeling that something is in here, and it was not the cats or the dogs, or they was locked up in the floor above me. And I was sitting there, and I was seeing the shadows of something around the bowl of water that my dogs drink of when they're out downstairs. And I had a bear in my hand, and I thought that I would give an offering if it was them. So I poured the bear out and was sitting there, and I fell asleep after a couple of hours, and the next day it all was gone, and nobody else had been in that room. So after that, I been putting out some bear, because they obviously like bear, and almonds as well. And lately now I put a glass on top of the table with a bear, and it's porcelain, and some almonds beside. And to reach it, you have to either a little goblin or something couldn't do it by himself, so they probably had to be a few of them, because the glass when I came was standing on the floor and it was empty, and the almonds was gone as well. So they probably had some teamwork going on to get the glass down to easy to get their gift. So
I'm sensing that they're little guys. They're like maybe 3 feet or something like that. Kind of maybe goblins.
it was like this height, the one that I saw running across the living room.
Okay.
So and he had a pointy hat, but he was running um, quite fast over to the couch, between a couch and a chair.
Okay, it's interesting. Very interesting story. They obviously like you and your home and your pets and your offerings. So, if you feel good energies, continue to give offerings if you like these beings.
I also have a chair so that I can raise my feet up, and I've noticed they've been running behind the chairs and underneath my feet, like they're kidding with me.
They like to play with you.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I feel a good. There's nothing bad. It's a good feeling, and I feel their presence as well. So
Well,
it's like
they could be part of your soul family that even if they're not human, other beings are very, when they feel the love coming from you, they'll continue to come to visit you and appreciate your gifts.
also.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to give the first reading.
Yeah.
Okay, this is for Gunnar.
Yeah.
The vibrational pulse of the meeting is one of love and understanding. You yearn to learn from both the higher and lower realms of the fairies, people, and animals. You sense the pulse of the nature of these foundations and realities. The beings are on the alert when cruel people are around. Only warm people can go near them. What matters is warm vibrational love and understanding, not a cruel heart or cruel words.
Wow, thanks. That's quite an answer.
Yeah, I think it answered it pretty well.
Yeah, it did, really.
So, that's an example of how these readings can capture your thoughts and your emotions and express them in the form of words.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so, it was all about the fairies and the kingdoms and, learning and just having the right kind of vibration inside yourself to attract them.
And we were just talking about fairies 5 minutes ago about, so it reflects the energy of the reading back to
Yeah,
the answer.
I have a fascination for this kind of stuff myself, and I've been, listening to all of Gunnar's stories with, quite a rapt attention. He told me this one story in the beginning, and I did a reading, and my question was, how do we communicate with these fairies? And the answer I got from the reading wasn't about how to communicate with them. It was all the reasons why we don't.
That's interesting. Sometimes you'll get a different answer to your question, but it's very important in terms of that answer.
Yeah, basically what it's saying is that humans are basically very angry and violent. And when they're putting out that kind of vibration, these fairy beings, they must be extremely sensitive and they can sense it.
They can, yeah. It's you kind of have to be in the right vibration to talk to beings of the higher dimensions and realms, because they'll know if your vibration is lower than it should be. They can sense your thoughts. Most of them are telepathic, so they're really they'll come to you when you're grounded and when you're calm and when you're ready to talk about things. But when you're angry and you're not at peace, they might not want to talk to you for a bit until you calm down.
Yeah,
And the same for humans interacting with humans. It's the same thing. It's just respect and compassion and understanding.
yes. So this is actually the first group dice meeting that's ever happened, at least on the internet. I've had a few people over the house, and we did a few readings that way. But I think the reason it didn't get started 4 years ago was because I was thinking in my mind that I could just make it happen on my own.
Well, sometimes you need a little bit of help with some good friends, good energy. And I mean, look at what we were doing in the beginning. I couldn't reach Gunnar on Skype. I was like, what's going on here? I couldn't get the Google Hangout to go either. And it's just, but it all came together energetically to work out. And here we are as a group. We're doing this.
Yeah, I mean, if the idea catches on, it might spread, and there might be further group dice readings in the future.
I hope so, because this is really helpful for people just to see how we did it. It's a very special energy. It helps to ground and balance you. The energies
Yeah,
of grounding and balancing for people during these dice readings. And you feel calm and you feel special and you feel like you're participating in this, that you're part of something good vibrationally.
yeah. The thing I like about it is that it kind of frees me up from doing what psychics do, which is, they kind of create a dependency because they're giving out all the answers, and a lot of them are receiving money for it.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is, after a while, you're getting the answers from another person. But
Yeah.
with the dice readings, you're doing the readings yourself.
Yeah, the answer is already there when you've thrown the dice, and
Yeah.
you have the letter sequences. You just help to put it all together.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, that was a very good sample of dice reading. I think let's just leave it at one, just so people understand what it is, and the rest Jim will give in private to the guests, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just need to get their names and their email addresses so I can, I need to know who wrote, whose letters are on the photographs.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you after we stop recording.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Any last thoughts, questions, and anything you
Um,
guys want to say?
well, I'd just like to say that, from my experience, that the main thing about learning this method is to just keep doing it every single day, or at least once a week, and just keep doing it, and doing it. And, you're going to reach these points of frustration where you're going to want to punch the wall. But, that just goes along with learning the method. And then, once you get past that, once you realize that it's your mind that's blocking all these answers that you're trying to get, that's when your mind starts expanding. And that's when you go into an enlightened state. And the other thing is, you can expect some kind of a phenomenal experience within 3 days to 2 weeks after doing a reading. And that's usually what happens. And I've had emails from people after doing an interview with Ileana, and they wrote to me and said that they had a phenomenal experience as they were listening to me talk. So I don't know what caused that. Maybe it was the vibration of my voice, or what I was talking about, or maybe a combination of the two. But it's that phenomenal energy that you want to experience, that phenomenal energy, and haven't experienced something like a deja vu, or a flash memory, or just like a premonition or a vision or something like that. When that happens, and if it happens as a result of a reading, that's really quite typical, and that's when you go into the enlightened state.
Yeah,
And,
Jim, do you recall what I told you about the first time we spoke together on Skype? When I got this amazing energy surging through my body and was able to bend time-space.
yeah, it's not me. I'm not doing it. I'm just sort of like addressing these phenomenal currents of energy, and they're all around you at all times. I'm not making it happen. I'm just sort of reminding you of the fact that those energetic currents are all around you, and you can just tap into them anytime you want.
Yeah, so you acted like sort of a conduit.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm just, delivering the message.
Yeah.
And also inspiration for just being inspired to try the dice method, to learn the method, to read about it, and then to try it out for yourself. Buy the dice,
Yeah, exactly.
roll
And
them,
yeah,
send.
it doesn't cost any money. I never charge money for any of this, because if I did, I think it would just stifle the whole process, because the way it works is, like, every day I throw the dice, I get a reading. So I check and see if there's any names in the reading. If I see a name, first and last name especially, then that's a code for that person. So if I do this on my own, I'm not going to send them an email and say, okay, if you send me $20, I'll send you the reading. I already got the reading, and it happens spontaneously. So the whole idea of charging money, it just doesn't fit into what I do.
No, and I did a reading for a friend with my dice. I asked a question on her behalf with the dice that I had purchased, and I had quite an answer for her, and that was okay because the question was right. I had her permission to give her the answer, So she was willing for me to ask the question on her behalf and to give her the answer. So somebody must be willing for this to happen. You know,
Yeah,
for the dice reading to go through properly on somebody else's behalf sometimes.
yeah, it happens according to their will.
Yes, exactly. It's and you just get inspired by these interviews. Sometimes you hear something that, you know, vibrates on your level with what you're feeling, in tune with yourself. You feel good with it, and you're inspired to try the dice method, or you do it gradually, you know, however you learn. It's some people do it quicker, some people do it slower, and it's fine whatever your pace is for it. It's fine. Just enjoy the process of learning the instructions themselves for how to work with the dice, and then trying
Yeah,
it out for yourself. And sometimes people, like for me, I didn't even understand the method, but I bought the dice right away because I liked the energetic vibration of the boggle set of dice that I saw. It just in my head I immediately had this thought, I need to have these. They vibrate. I like the dice, the shape of them, the size of them, the big size, the bright blue letters, you know. I'm like, and I ordered them right away.
I think just the process itself of having the dice in your hands and throwing them has an empowering effect.
It does. It does. I love my dice, and it's always something new that I learn when I'm doing the dice throws. And I get inspired by it. Every reading is unique and special to me and very inspiring and humbling as well. Feels good when I do the dice readings. It's like almost meditating when you hold the dice in your hand and you throw them. Good energy, good grounding energy.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention was these energetic currents that surround us. It's these energetic currents that make all the arrangements for the things that happen in our life. So, you know, once you become aware of the connection between your thoughts and these energetic currents, that's when you step into the enlightenment state.
Very good.
You know,
Very good.
your thoughts are influencing these energetic currents, and the energetic currents are responding to your thoughts, and they are making the arrangements for all of the things that you want to happen in life. I mean, you may not be aware of that because you can't see how, you know, somebody arrived at a certain place and you were there with that person at the same time. You can't see all these things ahead of time, but you can sort of get a sense of how your thought patterns work. I mean, you can study your thought patterns like every day of the week. And once you understand your thought patterns, then you can understand how your thoughts are influencing the energetic currents.
That's very true. I agree with that. And you know, your thinking patterns change every day as well. So it's really about exploring yourself and seeing what's out there, your questions, your answers, and just being in touch with your soul and who you are and where you're going, who you've been, and just acknowledging all of those things. Everything is part of you and who you are, not being afraid to explore aspects of yourself and your soul and how it works with the world and how it works with others around you, your family, your friends, because it's all energy and it's all interconnected vibrationally. It's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
vibrationally interconnected with each other.
You know,
And
once you come into that enlightened state, you're going to understand everything.
yeah, and it might be overwhelming when you try to understand everything and it gradually happens or it happens all at once and you're like, you have that enlightened moment, that aha moment. Wow. But it's okay. It's all about discovery and exploration. So, you know, however it comes, just work with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we had a pretty good session.
I think so too. Thank you. Thank you, Gunnar group. Thank you, Jim. It was wonderful and wonderful group session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.